Well, just in the last hour or so, I caught up with Pacific Affairs reporter Stephen Jedgetts and asked him about the US joining Australia and Papua New Guinea to build a new military port on Manus Island.
Well, Barry, there were murmurs that went through the room yesterday when Mike Pence made this announcement. The implications are pretty clear. The US wants a toehold to Australia's north. It wants to push more deeply into the South Pacific, and there's also a pretty clear attempt here at strategic denial. Both Australia and the US were nervous about the prospect of China potentially setting up a deep water port just to our north, and this, what we've seen now, is a very clear statement of intent from Australia and the US that we're not prepared to allow this to happen. There are, though, Barry, a lot of details that still have to be hammered out. We don't know, for example, how much money the US is actually going to pour into the redevelopment. We don't know yet whether Australian, let alone US, naval vessels will be based permanently at Lombrum after the redevelopment. And the Prime Minister Scott Morrison was pretty clear yesterday that PNG would have veto rights over everything. He said all of this still had to be hammered out during the negotiations with Papua New Guinea.
And Stephen, what's left to do over the next 24 hours or so at APEC?
Well, it's rather surreal, but it feels almost as APEC is getting underway that the main game has already been played out here. Of course, APEC's meant to be about often rather dry economic issues, but they've been swamped completely by the geopolitical game that's played out here over the last 24 hours. I think we can expect that both the US and China will unveil more announcements today, particularly on the infrastructure side, probably aimed at Pacific Island nations in particular. They aren't members of APEC, but both the US and China have spent an awful lot of time and energy courting them here over the last couple of days. So whether the organisers like it or not, a rather dry economic forum has been turned into a pretty big crucible for conflict between the two great powers.